Planning Board meeting for April 10th, and if everybody would stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Elbridge Township Planning Board has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of the meeting by one properly posting in the municipal complex, an announcement giving the time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting, 2 mailing such announcement to the Home News, and 3 filing a copy of such announcement with the municipal clerk. Mr. Casquini? Here. Mr. Ross? Here. Mr. Lauer?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Mr. Morici?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Mollis?
Here.
Mr. Luca? Here. Chairman Cannon?
Here.
Mr. Sachs?
Here.
Ms. Carey? Here. Ms. Shapiro? Here.
Okay, I just want to remind everybody that this meeting is being televised. The cameras will go off at 10. That doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be finished, although we don't have a big agenda, so maybe we will be. For discussion, the first item is application 19-17P, Avalon Bay Communities.
Thank you very much. Robert Kasuba from the law firm of Biscayne Hoff on behalf of the applicant, Avalon Bay Communities. I don't know, Mr. Sachs, if you want to give the board an update in the
Yeah,
public.
let me explain why this is on for discussion this evening. As the board will recall, this application was approved on February 6th of 2018. And subsequent to that meeting, Mr. Kasuba reached out to me to discuss the possibility of modifying the issue regarding pro rata traffic contribution, off-track traffic contribution, as well as an issue involving the tree replacement. And as a result of him reaching out to the municipality, there were a number of meetings scheduled that occurred at the municipal building between myself, Ms. Shapiro, Mr. Roselli, our township attorney, Ms. Drum, our traffic consultant, and Mr. Kasuba's Avalon Bay team was there as well. We had a number of meetings. We also had the assistance of Special Master Elizabeth McKenzie, who was appointed by the court to handle all COA matters in Middlesex County. And as a result of those discussions, and I believe I did appear here maybe about a month or so ago at an executive session to just apprise you of where we were going with this, the municipality and Avalon Bay did reach a resolution of a modification to the off-track traffic contribution and also as to the tree contribution. And that's why Mr. Kasuba is here this evening. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just elaborate on the record as to what that modification will be. If the board will recall, on the evening of February 6th, one of the conditions was that the applicant would contribute the sum of $450,000 towards off-track traffic improvements, would also install a traffic signal at the intersection of at proposed Avalon Way and Ferry Road, and would also comply with the contribution as set forth in a memorandum from Mr. Lovallo dated November 30th of 2018. After having our discussions, and obviously Ms. Shapiro was heavily involved in reviewing the traffic data and reviewing the contribution aspect of it, the resolution of this was that the amount was going to be reduced from $450,000 to $400,000. And that contribution will be made by Avalon Bay upon them applying for, making application for the first construction permit with respect to this project. That money will be deposited and will remain in a separate escrow account, an interest-bearing escrow account, and it will be held for a period of 10 years, which ensures that those traffic improvements will be constructed and installed during that 10-year period. Now, that $400,000 will be utilized to cover improvements, proposed improvements at Route 18 and Ferry Road. Will also be utilized to install a signal at Avalon Way and Ferry Road. If those improvements aren't in within 10 years, we've had some recent discussion about this, but we've agreed that the applicant could make application to the governing body to either have those monies released or to compel some type of specific performance that the improvements are put in. I can assure you that those improvements, if this project is constructed, those improvements would be in well before that 10-year period. And the second thing that the municipality agreed upon was a reduction in the tree contribution to $50,000, and Mr. Lavallo is on board with that and agrees with that as well. So that's essentially what occurred after the application was decided and after the vote, the board approved it. It's all set forth in the resolution, which you'll adopt this evening. And the last aspect of this is that we have to also prepare a developer's agreement, which I will do subsequent to this resolution being memorialized, and it will contain, that information will be contained in there as well. But all the other conditions that were imposed upon this applicant by the board will remain in effect. Mr. Kasuba, have I summarized everything?
Yes, absolutely, that's correct. I just want to reiterate for the board and for the members of the public, this doesn't change any of the other conditions that were set forth in the resolution and the approval issued by this board. All the conditions that were discussed there, the development application, it's the exact same. This was just a resolution of the off-track contribution, the traffic signal issue, and also the tree compensation issue. We did come to a resolution on that. We asked that the board vote favorably on this resolution, as I understand was circulated to the board members before this meeting. And we hope to be proceeding with the development in the very near future. Thank you.
The fence and gate, in the resolution, the fence is being installed for the 600-foot width, all right? And the gate will be installed as per the recommendations of our professional staff and as per the recommendations of Fire Marshal Hart. So that's all contained in the resolution.
And is it going to be connected? Are the fence and gate going to be connected?
No, the fence and gate are not going to be connected. Basically, it's not going to be connected because, and again, I'm not sure this is really the province of this. If you would like
Right,
to,
yeah.
if you want to make a request for the resolution, Ms. Perchik, you're certainly free to do that with the municipality. But the fence will not be connected up to the gate. The objector's own witness suggested and recommended that we have a 3.5-foot gap between those two. And that was also the concern of our fire marshal. So, again, the only reason we're here with respect to Mr. Kasuba's application this evening, and the discussion on that is to deal with the traffic contribution and to deal with the tree contribution.
I'm sorry,
That was put on the record. I don't want the planning board to renege. It was clear on the record, and I sent out a letter to the planning board specifically showing where on the record there was a condition of the gate being connected, the emergency gate being connected.
Ms.
to the
Perchik,
fence.
Ms. Perchik, excuse me.
Has agreed to it.
Ms. Perchik, if you want to discuss that with the applicant, that's fine, but
That was
we have...
already discussed ad nauseam.
right.
And the applicant has agreed in writing, and
That's
we
not-
provided a copy of the letter. It was in the March 12th email as well as the February
Ms.
6th email. And I don't understand why the planning board is now not honoring the fact that they promised that whatever the applicant has agreed to. in
No, that's,
writing,
excuse me,
that's
excuse me,
not-
ma'am,
is
ma'am.
not gonna be
excuse me. let-
This is not the public portion.
Right.
All right, so if you want to talk during the public portion, by the way, with respect to the two issues that are now on the agenda here, which are the traffic improvements and the tree contribution, you're free to do so. I respectfully disagree with your characterization of what this board voted on. All right, you are certainly free to get a copy of this resolution. Once it is, let me finish, ma'am. Ma'am, let me finish. Can I please finish? Do I have your permission? Thank you. You can certainly get a copy of that resolution once it is memorialized by this board, all right? And if you have an issue with the content of that memorialization in that resolution and your agreement perhaps with Avalon Bay, there is recourse for you to take legal action, and certainly you're free to do that, all right? So,
If that's what the town wants.
No, that's-
For the citizens of the town to take legal action, I'd
no,
like
no.
to have that on the record.
No.
How wonderful that the attorney for the planning board
would do that to its own
No, no.
town that pays for your services.
Excuse me, we're not in the public portion, and we reviewed all the information you gave us, and it is as our attorney, Cho.
Correct.
Is reporting it.
All right, so that's, Madam Chairwoman, that's why Mr. Kasuba is here this evening, okay? By the way, if he had not requested a modification of those traffic improvements, all you would be doing is voting on the resolution this evening.
Right.
And that's it, all right? So that's the discussion at this particular point. Ms.
Okay,
Shapiro?
does anyone, excuse me, we're not open to the public yet, okay? And the planning board needs to have input.
And I know Ms. Shapiro participated in all of those
Right.
meetings, and I'm assuming what I
Okay, so
indicated
Nicole,
is
would you like to
satisfactory.
make any comment?
I mean, I think our board attorney has expressed it as I saw it in our technical meetings. And those were the three items that we had discussed, and everything that he presented tonight was agreed on collectively, not only with me and the township attorney, but also, not only by me and the board attorney, but our township attorney as well was in the room with us, and our professionals, our traffic consultant as well.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone from the board have any questions or comments? Okay, I just wanted to ask regarding the 10-year with the 400,000.
Yes.
If they don't, for some reason, don't start building until, I don't know, do you have any idea of when you are going to start? I don't mean to pin you down, but just,
As soon as we realistically can, I don't know. if we
no,
have a
I just
target.
wondered if, for some reason, they don't
No,
get started
yeah,
until way down the road
right.
someplace.
That's an issue that,
It would be 10 years from when the money is posted with the town. The money
Right.
is supposed to be posted with the town as the building permits
Oh,
are
okay.
issued,
So
so.
the money wouldn't
I
get posted
I think
now,
it's
it would get-
unrealistic to think that there would be
Okay, so even
any
if it's-
significant gap.
So even if it's delayed, then it would
Correct.
be in sync with when the building is going on?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, no one from the board has any question? Okay, so do I?
no, at this point, well, actually, you can open it up to the public as to these two issues involving the requested modification by Avalon Bay, which deals with the off-track traffic improvements and the tree contribution.
Okay, I'm opening up to the public on those two issues only, so if anyone has any comment or question, you're welcome to come back. Okay, seeing no hands, yes?
Yeah.
With respect to all of you, I'm sure you guys know what you guys are doing.
You have to give your name and address.
You, Z as in zebra, M as in Mary, A as in apple, Aleem, ALEEM, 157 Red Pine Loop. With respect to the board, understandable that you guys are making improvements to the township as you see fit, but as per our February meeting, the planning board, you guys yourself, said that without these contributions, there was no way to see how the traffic, how everything would be suitable, or safety concerns, and so on and so forth. So what makes you guys change your mind now, or the amount that they need to contribute to in order for the traffic to be, traffic improvements, or so on and so forth?
Yeah.
And then my other question, you said for the tree compensation that
Mm-hmm.
they have agreed to now 50,000. What was the prior amount that was?
I think well, first of all, let me address the first question. The
Okay.
first question, I think it was sort of an evaluation of, and if you recall, if you were at all these meetings, there was a lot of discussion about the methodology in terms of how the applicant calculated the off-track improvements and the methodology as to how the municipality
Right.
did it. Quite frankly, we're only reducing it by $50,000 since it was $450,000 versus $50,000. So the methodology is an acknowledgement that we'll take some recognition of how they approached it, but they also took some recognition of how the municipality approached it.
But Ms. Shapiro herself was very adamant on the amount
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that needed to be received in order for these for these effects or for these changes to be
Mm-hmm.
made. So now how come all of us, 50,000 is a large amount. It's not a small amount.
Well, if you recall, they wanted to contribute $85,000.
Well, that's
So-
prior, that's.
No, what I'm
basically
saying
what
is that
Ms.
their methodology said it was, their methodology said it was $85,000.
Right.
Our methodology said it was $450,000. we've agreed at 400,000. So quite frankly, I don't see where the township has compromised significantly on that issue. That's
Does the
one
planning
thing.
board feel like that's significant enough, the amount
Well,
is?
I think the planning board has to rely upon the recommendations of its professionals, which they did. Don't forget, as I've indicated previously, when I initiated this meeting this evening, is that our traffic engineer participated in these discussions, as did our township attorney, as did our engineer, as did myself. So, all right, and the answer to your second question is, I believe the original amount was in excess of $100,000, but quite frankly, they're supplementing it in other areas, and that's why Mr. Lovallo felt it was okay to reduce it to $50,000. And again, he's our township professional. He had no issue with the reduction, so.
Okay, my third question, as far as the gate and the
We're not,
fencing being
ma'am,
constructed.
we're not talking about the gate. That's not why I'm here this evening, no. The gate is being installed, the fence is being installed, and if there are further discussions that the applicant wants to have with the if Oakwoods Park wants to have with the applicant, they're certainly free to do that. That may require another modification to this resolution at some point, but certainly the association is free to do that.
Because as per that February meeting, they had said that they had agreed to it.
Well, if you read the transcript, and believe me, I've read the transcripts twice, all right? There were 5 transcripts. And again, I'm not going to comment on it.
Right.
I mean, I've already stated what I had, but the objector's own engineer recommended that there be some type of, that it not be fully connected, that it not be go up right up to that point. So in any event, hopefully I've answered your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing no other hand, yes.
Yes, my name is Dennis Bombardier at 47 Carmel Court. My question is, they meant Bombardier. My question is, on Route 18, you mentioned, what are they going to do on Route 18 and Furry Road?
Actually, Nicole, maybe you want to just describe the configuration that's proposed.
The intent is to go in with a problem statement to DOT first, to make them aware of the issues at that intersection based on the traffic study that was submitted by the applicant's engineer. The intent is to try and do a dedicated right turn ramp off of Ferry Road and have 2 dedicated left turns onto Route 18 going southbound.
Thank you. I think you had mentioned that at the first meeting. That's what the intent was. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the public portion.
All right, so I guess at this point, Madam Chairwoman, if somebody wants to make a motion to adopt the resolution, we can certainly do that.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the resolution with the modification? Okay, moved by Mr.
I'll second it.
And second by Mr. Schmidt. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbas? Yes. Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Pink?
Yes.
Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
All right?
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to yield to Ms. Carey.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
all right. So, we have the minutes for March 6th, 2016. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt. Seconded by Mr. Marucci. Roll call, please.
Mr. Pescity?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Pink? Yes. Mr. Mullins? Yes. Chairman Cannon?
Yes. Okay, council referral ordinance number 2018-06, ordinance amending and adopting an amended official zoning map of the Township of Old Bridge in accordance with Chapter 250 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge, specifically 250-35 entitled zoning map. Are you going to, is our attorney or Nicole, are you going to talk on this?
I can introduce it, then I think Nicole can give you the details. So this has come to us as a referral because
they are going to change something within the zoning ordinance, so we're reviewing it for consistency. And as Nicole will probably point out to you, the whole point of this is to make it consistent. So that we have when she's done explaining it, we have a resolution confirming the consistency of the zoning map change for your vote this evening, but she'll explain what's going on.
Thank you. Okay, so before our former township planner had left earlier this year, we had gotten an email from Middlesex County, and their GIS specialist had said, "Hey, we reviewed your latest revisions to your zoning map, and we found some irregularities. If you could look into them." So, of the irregularities that they had found, there was 5. Katie, before she left, Ms. O'Kane, had gone through the 5 items that were brought up by Middlesex County, and she basically put together just our response back to the county. The memo that was attached in our Novus program sort of details. So of the 5, the general gist is 3 required revisions to our zoning map. 2 were correct. We just explained to them what was wrong with their theory of why they thought it should be a certain way. So the first one was one that required no change, and that was the CC zone on the 2015 map, now designated as the CN zone in the 2017 map. And so then that's the first picture that's up there. And what Ms. O'Kane has gone through was, you know, and in some of these it says, you know, that there was some sort of glitch. And really I like to call it sometimes human error, you know, and as big of a town as we have, to have just 5 irregularities found by the county is pretty good. So with the first one, there was a fix that designated it to the CN zone. It was always the CN zone. So if you notice on that first map, what we did was we put the 2015 next to the 2017, and the 2017 map is correct as it is for that first comment that GIS specialist had. The second one was the Crossroads overlay was missing a parcel, and they were right. So the hatching on the next page just didn't extend and actually was missing a parcel. And so we went back, we researched the Crossroads overlay in that redevelopment plan, and we saw that there was a hatching that was missed. So there was a change, and that change is reflected in a map that's dated January 9th, 2018, that was presented. I'm sorry, it's actually not dated January 9th, 2018, because I've made other just cleanup and graphical changes to it. So I believe it's dated, and I'm going to check, Kelly. I think it was dated February 23rd. Okay. But it is changed to include that hatching. The third one, the R30 zone on the 2015 map, now designated the R5 zone on the 2017 map. This is actually along the Route 34 corridor, and we went back and we checked everything, and it was just an error. There was a time where we were trying to rotate the text, and I think the text just got copied over, and then it just was never changed. And then there was an R5 that carried over when that section was an R30. So that did require changing. The fourth one was the Rose and Lambertson redevelopment area. And that one, again, had the hatching that really didn't extend. So that triangular piece at the bottom on the 2015 needed to have a hatch. So if you look at the 2017, Dawn, if you scroll down a little bit, that hatching had to extend into that triangular area, and that has been fixed as well. Now, the last one was mention of the McDivitt Elementary School in the TCD zone. There is no proposed change on that. They were incorrect, so that was the 5th. So those are basically the 5 changes, and everything that we looked at was consistent with any redevelopment plan that we had and any of the overlay areas, and any background information that we had as early as basically the 2013 changes that we had on the zoning map. So what I had done is, once we were finalized with these changes, I actually, before I came back to the planning board, I said, well, let me make sure we're right. And I resubmitted it back to Middlesex County to that GIS specialist, and I said, can you please just co-sign before we go back to our planning board and make sure that they agree to this? And he said everything looked good.
Okay. I just wanted to ask with this, I just get nervous with the Rose and Lamberton,
Yeah.
with the redevelopment, because it is, I know there's, it was bought with Green Acre money, and there's all restrictions that it has to be used as basically recreation open space.
Yes.
But that is noted throughout someplace, so in future,
Yes, I actually, I don't know if we had talked about it before, where I had said that I was updating the Rossi list, the registered open space inventory list that basically is sort of Green Acres, NJDEP Green Acres listing of all our open space, whether it's encumbered or not with Green Acres funding. The Rose Lamberton Trek is on there, and when I tell you, it's never coming off. So whether it was a redevelopment area or not, it makes no difference. It will be very difficult in the eyes of Green Acres.
and why are we calling it a redevelopment area?
There was a redevelopment plan done years ago. And, it does, a redevelopment area doesn't have to be buildings and apartments. It could be a golf course. It could be for recreational purposes. It could still comply with Green Acres restrictions, and it could still meet the recreational component, but it doesn't have to be, it's never going to be housing.
Right, okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding this? So we're just authorizing or okaying the council to go ahead and do the amendment?
Because it's a zoning ordinance, it has to come to us for consistency review. So that's the whole point of this. We've made it consistent.
Right,
And that's basically what the resolution says.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? No, we don't have to open to the public, do we?
No.
Okay,
Just a motion to approve
do we
the-
have a motion to approve the amendments?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, made by Mr. Pescitti, second?
I'd second.
Who's,
Wasn't me.
Mr. Abbas.
Mr. Boss. Okay, roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Abad?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Pink?
Yes.
Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas? Yes. Chairman Kent?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we have another council referral, ordinance number 2018-09, ordinance amending the Code of the Township of Old Bridge, specifically 250-42 of the Land Development Code of the Township of Old Bridge entitled Prohibited Use.
Was everybody able to look at the ordinance that was sent over from council? Okay. This is you've probably heard in the news that there's a push in New Jersey to legalize marijuana in ways that it isn't currently. So I believe this is a proactive attempt by the council to, through the zoning ordinance, to prohibit where the sale of marijuana and paraphernalia and growing and all that can be done within the town. And because they've done it through the zoning ordinance, it needs to come to us for consistency with the master plan. So again, it's not the planning board adopting the ordinance or saying that it's a good idea or a bad idea. Our review is purely on whether or not it's consistent with the master plan. The ordinance, as it comes to us, refers to studies that have been done that indicate that there are dangers associated with marijuana use, including traffic accidents and other public safety issues that come about. For that reason, because one of the reasons of zoning is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public, it is consistent with our master plan. There's obviously nothing specific about this issue. The master plan does not get that specific in its details. But in the fact that it's consistent with the police powers, which are the basis of zoning, it's consistent. So there is a resolution to that effect that basically says changing the zoning ordinance to prohibit a use and uses that are detrimental to the public is consistent with the master plan. So that's what's in front of you if you're comfortable enough, voting on that. Again, you're not voting yes or no on the ordinance, you're voting that it's consistent with protecting the public's health, and that's part of the master plan.
Is there medical and recreation, or just, what are we talking here?
They are, everything, the way it's done, you can't put within so far of a school, and so it's basically, we take out everything. Paraphernalia, sales, growing, everything. And it doesn't mean that that's how they would adopt it. My understanding is it's still being debated. But that it's within the purview, the idea is that it's within the purview of council and of zoning ordinance to protect health, safety, and welfare of the public, and that is consistent with what we've
And the research,
done.
and the research was taking effect the marijuana versus alcohol, or that has nothing to do with it?
No,
That's not part of what
we're
they're,
not discussing alcohol.
yeah.
Well, just after the research.
No, I know, but I mean, yeah,
Same effect or maybe worse or less, or that's
Right.
why.
right.
Yeah, no, the article they cited, I don't believe dealt with that. I mean, and I'm going on what they sent us and the information they had. I'm not adding to that, but, there's, obviously you can research and have your own opinion for yourself. The question here is whether it's consistent or inconsistent with the master plan.
Mr. Pescity, since you're a member of the council, would you like to?
Yeah, well, when it
Share
came
anything.
up for a vote at the council, I abstained because I felt that I didn't have enough information on the whole, the whole thing. Look, I don't particularly support recreational use for marijuana. However, I have read and seen some benefits to medical marijuana where a doctor prescribes the oils, the cannabis oils to patients, Parkinson's, and other medically needy people. I think we're just going so fast here to say no because the state has said that if marijuana gets sold, it has to go through dispensaries, and it's going to get regulated through the state. They don't sell it through a pharmacy like
yeah.
normal medicines would. So if we go ahead and change this, I understand what you're saying, Kelly, about being consistent with the master plan. We want to be consistent. However, I think we're just going so quickly, and we may be cutting out the capability to distribute medical cannabis to those patients that need it. And we have a large population in Old Bridge, and I just think that, to go so fast and so quick to just say no without really looking at it carefully, I think is a little irresponsible. So I would like to table it.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments, or?
I have a question.
Yes.
In being consistent with the master plan, how does that affect county recreation and, let's say, state recreation like Cheesecake State Park? Does this encompass those areas?
State and county parks would be regulated under state and county laws, so no.
So this, those areas would be exempt?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think, because I had some concerns, the same as you did, Mr. Pescity, about the medical use, and because right now, as you say, I think they can only do it through dispensaries, they can't do it through prescriptions through a pharmacy, which, would seem to make sense, that be the way, because it would be more accessible for people, they wouldn't have to travel wherever to get to a dispensary, but, so that's not available now without changing state legislation, I guess, or something. The laws have to change at the state level to
Right, and
prescribe a different way of dispensing the
dispensing,
medical
and
marijuana.
remember, under federal law, it's still prohibited in all,
Or is it federal law?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's still
okay.
illegal in all uses in federal law.
That's one of the reasons for the push to get this through, because, the federal doesn't allow, those folks that would go ahead and sell marijuana can't use the banking system because it's cash only, because they can't deposit the money into a Federal Reserve Bank because the federal government restricts that's the sale of marijuana. So it becomes a drug use type thing. So that's why there's a push to come out and deny these dispensaries before it becomes mainstream, and then we can't be, we can't get that backlash of suit. See what I'm saying? That's what the push is. But, I believe we're far off from recreational marijuana, because the legislature in New Jersey has already said that they're not interested in it, even though the governor is.
Okay, so you're making a motion to table, I mean.
I would like to make a motion to table, yeah.
We need a
Is there a second?
and then a vote.
Oh, Mr. Marucci? Okay, seconded by Mr. Marucci.
Talk about it.
So,
So to table the resolution to the next meeting?
Yeah, I think that we
just to
should,
get more information?
get more
or
information
See what
and-
other options might be available?
because really, once it comes through this board and it goes through zoning, council's going to approve it, it's going to be gone. This is the time to look at it closely.
Okay,
Any way we can isolate the recreation from medical, so we can maybe vote on them separately? Because that's the feeling, I mean, a lot of people with depression, and, I mean, if you look at the alcohol, it's way worse than marijuana.
yeah, but I don't think, we're not really,
I do understand that.
Yeah, we can,
yeah, we can't, we have to go to the council, I think, to.
yeah,
We need to.
we could send a letter to council explaining that that's our issue, but it's not something, they gave us an ordinance.
The promises, they're not gonna accept to sell any of those.
Yeah, they gave us an ordinance, so we have to,
We either
reflect on
accept
the
it or
ordinance.
table it or reject it.
But we can I can do a letter explaining that we tabled it and that the
What the
concern
issues
seem
are,
to be
or
that-
concerns that we have.
So is there?
Okay, so it's been
If we're going to do a letter, though, I want to, let's do the vote, and then I want to hear from the other half, so that I know what to put in my letter. The other side, other half of the table, so that I
Okay.
know what to put in my letter.
Okay,
But we need a vote, this would be to table to not vote on this evening. I know council was looking to get it back, but so the vote would be to table this to our next meeting so the board can get more information.
So
So a
does-
yes would be to table it.
right. Does anybody have any comments from this?
I actually do have a quick question. In terms of discussing this, in regards to whether or not, like, it's consistent with the master plan, I understand the points that you're bringing up about it not being consistent, but if there are certain other things that it is consistent with, for example, like increasing jobs or development in the area, I'm just sort of wondering how you reconcile those two things. You know, if it's inconsistent in certain components, but, you know, it might fulfill parts of the master plan in other ways, like how to consider it.
Well, I think there's many things that would create jobs, and the question is, which ones do we prefer? So if we're talking about health, safety, and welfare, the determination that this isn't one of those safe ways to do it I think would trump the fact that everything has, two sides. And that's why the board gets to make a decision. It's a judgment call on these kind of things. The master plan never gets this specific on items. So this is really more of a, this is a difficult one to give a planning analysis on. The board, so it probably makes some sense to get some more information to make sure you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make a judgment call.
Okay, if there's no other comments, it's been moved and seconded, so roll call, please.
To table.
This is to table till the next meeting.
Mr. Cassidy?
Yes.
Mr. Avon?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
No.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Pink?
Yes.
Mr. Mollis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca? Ms. DeLuca? Yes. Chairman Cannon?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so both of those resolutions were
The
involved.
first one was passed, the second one was tabled to the next meeting, but I'm going to do a letter to, at least to township attorney, and just explaining why.
Right.
So what would the board like me to say? Is it the medical part of it that's the biggest concern, or are there other concerns? Or you just want to get more, should I just say we're looking for more information?
Yeah, I think for me, anyway, the medical is the big question. I'd even talked to one of the council people about it, and I got some feedback that was helpful, but I think it's good to just see if we can get some more information as to what other options may be on the table. Does anybody else have any comments that they want included? Yes, Mr. Mollis.
Just one, what are the prohibited uses are there? Technically, somehow marijuana got brought up, but what about any other prohibited use?
I think
The-
it's,
Is it spelled out a little better?
There are prohibited uses in this, and I'm trying to flip to it now, in that section of the statute, usually, and I'm not looking at it, but usually a town will prohibit things that cause like loud vibrations or odors or smell. There are other types of industries that we prohibit. And let me see if I have it in this one.
in our master plan.
Yeah. Oh, wait, in the ordinance. So the section 250-42 of the township zoning currently says prohibited uses. refineries, explosive manufacturing or storage, cement manufacture, slaughterhouses, solid or liquid waste processing. And there's a list that goes on and on. So then it included this at the bottom of the list as one of the other
So
prohibited
this
uses.
would be added to that
Like
list.
a noxious industry, sort of.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
the marijuana thing's a hot item right now.
Yeah,
There are other prohibited
Right.
uses that we should take into consideration.
right.
So you think there's other things that we should add in addition?
Maybe we should all get a copy of that. Let's see what we
Okay.
Okay.
It's,
Good idea.
if you, they got a copy of the ordinance, yeah, the ordinance is attached.
It's in your
It's
packet.
in your packet with the list there.
You can
It's,
look at the other,
Section
prohibition.
250-42. Not, you know, the
There
ordinance
wasn't?
that they're proposing? Okay.
all right, well, we'll get a copy to everybody sooner rather than later.
The zoning map, that's, right, that's an ordinance. The prohibited use is tabled, and the zoning map was approved. We voted to approve the changes, the ordinance that will change and update the zoning map. We voted to approve that.
What? Yeah.
You did the minutes first, and then we did that next. After Nicole spoke, we did the,
A ruckus going outside? What am I supposed to do? Okay, so it's tabled for a month, and in the meantime, whatever information, that the board needs from the planning office, we'll get it to you. For the ordinance. Okay, and then we have the escrow deficiency resolutions have any of these have been paid, so we don't have to do any. They're all been paid? Oh, okay. Then we go to the completeness waiver. We have one more resolution.
because we did, yes, Corinne, because we did send them notices that they were deficient at one point, so we're just memorializing the action we took and saying you need to pay them or you can't come and get your resolution done. So we're,
And who's that, Avalon Bay?
that was actually one vote for all of them.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Avant?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Morici?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mollis?
Yes.
Mr. Lubna? Yes. Chairman Cannon?
Yes, if it's already been paid,
Thank you.
I don't understand why we have to do a resolution. Okay. Completeness waiver, 03-18P.
Then go back to all the resolutions. That was just for escrow. We have resolution is on there as well.
Can we move them as a group?
Right, escrow deficiency, and that's been taken care of, so now we can go ahead and vote on the actual resolutions for each of these.
Even though the money's been paid.
Well, the money's been paid, so now we can vote on their actual approval that we granted. So this is their actual resolution. Avalon Bay you already voted on, so it's just 3.
Okay, so we just can group them together? We have to do each one individually?
Do each one individually. Application 54-17P, KF Nanian Shore Acquisitions, resolution to approve their application.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Marucci. Roll call.
Yes.
It seems
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mollis?
Yes.
Chairman Cannon?
Yes.
And then application 01-18P, the Reserve at Woodhaven Plaza, the resolution approving their application.
Move it. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call.
Mr. Pasquini?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mollis?
Yes.
Chairman Cannon?
Yes. 39-17P, Brunetti Minor Subdivision, School Site.
Move it.
Who's that?
You abstain from that, can't vote on it.
Oh, I can't, on Brunetti?
I'll move it.
On the Oaks.
Okay, abstain. Oh, we're not voting yet. Take back my move.
I did.
Second.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Mollis?
Yes.
Chairman Cannon?
Yes.
Thank you for going through the formality. The applicant appreciates
I
that.
don't understand it.
They need to,
You have to explain that one to me, why? I mean,
Explain to me.
we do a resolution every time somebody pays their escrow.
Because they were deficient.
Completeness waiver. Can we go to completeness waiver now? 03-18P, Manzo Old Bridge Properties LLC, Block 5,000, Lot 13.16 and 13.17.
Chair, members of the board, my name is Marcia Moore from the law firm of Post Pollock, Goodsell and Strack on behalf of the applicant, Manzo Old Bridge Properties LLC.
Okay,
Introduction, this is an application to deem whether or not our application is deemed complete. We have 3 waivers from the subdivision checklist reference with respect to profiles of all storm sewers, profiles of all streets adjoining project, and existing and proposed signs. Just briefly, our application is an amended final subdivision application. We're not proposing any construction. So our request, because we're not proposing those construction, is to have the waiver from that subdivision checklist. As respect to the signs, there are existing signs. We're not creating any signs, so we're also asking for a waiver from the subdivision checklist to deem our application complete.
okay, Nicole?
Chairwoman Cannon, I agree with the waiver request that the applicant is asking. I have no further comments, but reserve any additional comments during the application period.
Okay, anybody from the board have any questions or comments?
Why is there going to be no construction proposed or planned?
It's just an amended, we have 2 existing lots, lots 1316 and 1317. We're just creating 4 new lots for an expansion, but the proposed application does not, we're not seeking the site plan for any new construction.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the waivers?
I'll move it.
Second,
Okay, moved by Mr. Lauer and seconded by who?
Baschetti.
Oh, Mr. Abbas. Roll call, or Mr. Pesquet?
Yes.
Mr. Abbas?
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Payne? Mr. Mullin?
Yes.
Mr. Luca? Yes. Mr. O'Connor?
Okay, you're approved. Thank you. Okay, that looks like, what's this one?
Woodhaven.
Oh, completeness waiver. I wondered why you were here. I thought you just got used to coming, so. Okay, 11-18 PA Woodhaven Village, Phase 3, Block 22001, Lot 2.13. Yes.
William I, project manager with Woodhaven Village, requesting submission waivers for an amended preliminary and final subdivision application and site plan for Woodhaven Village Section 2, Phase 3. Waiver for submission of environmental impact statement, physical impact statement, and aquifer recharge report. These were submitted with the Woodhaven Village Section 2 preliminary application, and nothing has changed with those. So I'm requesting a waiver because they've been reviewed and there have been no changes.
Okay. Nicole?
Mike. Sorry.
Thank you. It was submitted as part of application 5601P, so it is not necessary at this time.
Okay. Any questions or comments by the board? Okay, do we have a motion to grant the waivers?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Pink? Second. And seconded by Mr. Mollis. Roll call, please.
Mr. Pasquini?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Lauer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Marucci?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Mullin?
Yes.
Mr. Luca? Chairman Cannon?
Yes.
And then you have to continue on
Thank you.
Phase 4.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a continuance. Applicant is requesting to be continued to May 1st, 2018 with notice. Do we have to vote on that?
No, so we can just,
Okay. Do we- can
you
we-
haven't done the notice yet, right, so you do it then. Right, so it works.
Can we accommodate him on May 1st? Okay. All right, we'll see you May 1st.
Thank you.
On Woodhaven Meadows, Phase 4.
And, yeah, that's Woodhaven Meadows, Phase 4. And And the application that we, I guess was on our agenda earlier was 53-17P VNS Power LLC. That has been transferred to the zoning board.
Correct. It requires a D variance, so this board does not have jurisdiction to hear it.
I thought they were just adding garages or something.
I didn't even get so far that I saw it, so I don't know.
Oh, they don't get garages? Oh, okay. All right. Any other business or issues that anybody wants to talk about since we're done so early? Okay, motion to adjourn by Mr. Schmidt, second by Mr. Marucci. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody.